Hi, today I'll be talking about why I prefer my Mavic Air over my Phantom 4 Pro V2 as well as my Mavic 2 Pro. Let's talk about it. Okay, so the Mavic Air, as you can see here, is very compact. In fact, it's so compact, I was able to put it in my small camera bag with the drone, the remote control, the charger, 4 battery, and the extra propellers. So all these, the whole complete system in a small camera bag. And I was able to go through the airport, through the security without any issue. I'm not saying that you cannot do that with these two pro consumer drones. It's just that they're about 3 times more bulkier. So it might, be inconvenienced as you go through the airport security. So that's one thing. When you're traveling, this is the drone to have. In fact, I did not regret one bit that I took this drone over the other two. It's less expensive, so you don't have to worry about, if you crash it, well, you only lose, almost $1,000, whereas these two, well, $2,000 plus dollars each. So having this drone, you don't feel so bad if something did happen to it. But still, you need to take care of it, and that's the thing. It has a pretty good protective plastic here for the gimbal and the camera. So I'm pretty proud of this, that actually I crashed it a couple of times and the camera is still in perfect condition, and the gimbal as well. The camera and the gimbal itself is a 3-axis gimbal, so the quality, the steady shot is amazing. You can check my 3 videos that I did during my vacation as I filmed East Coast area. It's a very, very good videos. This camera can record in 4K 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second. You can also do 1080p 120 frames per second, and the bit rate is like 100 megabits per second. That's the same as these two pro consumer drones. Now the early version Mavic Pro version 1 and as well as the Phantom 4 standard can only do 60 megabits. So you can imagine this little drone can do better job than the other two drones, the Phantom 4 standard and the Mavic Pro 1 version 1. Quite amazing. Now the only issue you might have with this Mavic Air is that it can it uses Wi-Fi signal, so it can only go so far. In fact, when I tested it, it can only go about 500 meter, and then you start to see a warning signal that the signal is weak or something like that. So I always don't want to fly further than 500 meter, and I always return it back to me. In addition, when I was flying at the beach, there was a lot of wind, and I can see that it cannot resist too much of the very strong wind. So if you're flying when it's very, very windy day, then I wouldn't recommend it. You might get a drone being drifted, and then also the battery drains very fast when it's a very windy day. Compared to this pro consumer drones, this would be a better fit for that. In addition, if you're flying at night, obviously these are the two drones that you want because it has a bigger sensor and 1-inch sensor. This one has 1/2.3 inch sensor, so night shot may not be the best. However, when I was on my vacation, most of my shot I think is daytime, and maybe 1 or 2 was during evening, and it's acceptable. In the evening shot, the quality is still amazing. I had no regret with the video quality. I find that it's quite amazing, and even the intelligent mode, it's very effective as well, comparable to these two drones. In fact, some of the feature that it has here may not be found in Phantom 4 Pro V2. So the intelligent mode is amazing on this. Okay, so just let me clarify again. The only issue I may have for this Mavic Air is the distance that it can fly. I would say about 500 meter is the safest you can go. In Canada, for example, that's not a bad thing, because when you fly a drone, you have to make sure it's within the visual range of sight. So 500 meter for this small drone is about right. Secondly, this drone, the battery only lasts about 14 minutes compared to these other two, which can last about 22 to 24 minutes. So yeah, so make sure you buy a lot of battery for this drone. When you're traveling, this is the drone to have, and that's why I prefer this drone over the other two. When I'm traveling, when I'm doing vlogging, I would carry this around with me all the time. It's like just like having a smartphone. You know, with a smartphone you can take pictures and videos pretty much anywhere. Same thing with this Mavic Air. You know, as long as you obey the the nations wherever you live, you know, like say in Canada or in the States, the law, the drone regulation, you should be fine. And this is probably the best drone to have. It won't be as obvious. Oh, that reminds me, the only other issue that might come out is that this thing is a little bit noisy compared to Spark, for example. I mean, it sounds like a buzzing bee, like very loud. So as long as you're flying within like further, I would say further than 30 meters from people, then you shouldn't have any issue at all. But any closer than that, they might be able to hear you, and it could be distracting. So just be aware of the noise on this Mavic Air. So when I fly, for example, during my vacation, I try to move away from people as much as I can, about at least 30-40 meters away, and then so yeah, so that I won't get any attention. Okay, so if you're thinking about purchasing a drone for traveling, for vlogging, generally for everyday use, this is the drone to have, Mavic Air, compared to these two drone, the pro consumer drone like the Phantom 4 Pro V2 or the Mavic 2 Pro. You pay half as much and you use about 99% of the time. Whereas these ones, they are quite expensive, twice as expensive, and most likely I won't think you use it as much unless you're doing a professional job, like you're filming real estates and all that. Then these two for sure is the one that you want to go with. Whereas this one, and you're doing YouTube videos, vlogging, whatever it is that you do with your smartphone, but you're doing aero shot, this is the drone, I would say the standard drone to have. Alright? Thanks for watching EducateTube.com.